Have you ever followed a light, not knowing whether it's leading you to salvation or perdition? Alex Mercer tossed the question over his shoulder, barely glancing back to see if the old bait shop owner was listening. The sun was slipping behind the knotted cypresses, and the swamp began to exhale the day's heat, a mist creeping over the murky waters as if the earth itself were breathing. There was an unsettling beauty to it, an eerie calm that Alex knew better than to trust. Them lights, the owner, a grizzled man named Harlan, followed his gaze towards the simmering shadows of Loxahatchee swamp. Ain't nothing good ever followed them, son. They ain't like the will-o'-wisps in your fancy storybooks. These lights have a hunger to 'em. His voice was a gravelly whisper, carrying the weight of unspoken stories. Alex noted the wary flicker in the man's eyes, a spark of fear for those foolish enough to chase phantoms into the heart of the swamp. Pulling his jacket tighter against the creeping chill, Alex stepped closer to the water's edge, his recorder in one hand and a flashlight in the other. The swamp's reputation was as murky as its waters. Missing locals, strange sightings, and unexplained phenomena that even made skeptics pause. Well, he muttered to himself more than to Harland, let's see what hunger these lights will feed tonight. With that, he plunged into the thickening fog, each step a silent question to the growing darkness, his heart a steady drum in his chest. As the night cloaked the swamp in its opaque veil, Alex Mercer advanced cautiously, his boots squelching softly in the mud. The beam of his flashlight danced across the gnarled roots and thick clumps of moss, the light scattering creatures that skittered into the sheltering darkness. Above, the moon was a dim orb, filtered through a web of mist and clouds, offering little guidance. His recorder was on, capturing every nuanced sound, the distant cry of a night bird, the subtle rustle of leaves, and its own steady breathing. Patterns, he murmured, noting how the lights seemed to pulse rhythmically, like a heartbeat. They were not random after all. Each flicker appeared as if they were answering some unseen signal, beckoning him deeper into the swamp's enigmatic heart. He paused, adjusting the settings on his equipment to better track these intervals. The soft beep of the device reassured him, a modern lifeline in the midst of ancient whispering shadows. Suddenly, the quiet was shattered by a splash to his right. Swinging his light toward the sound, Alex caught the briefest glimpse of movement, a shadow against the water, too large and swift to be any local fauna he knew. Who's there? He called into the darkness, his voice more steady than he felt. The only reply was the echo of his own words against the thick air, warping as they travelled over water and under limb. Each step he took was a question, each unanswered call a deeper mystery to unravel. The swamp seemed to hold its breath as Alex ventured deeper. The only sounds now were the distant calls of nocturnal animals and the soft squelch of his boots. Each step took him further from the known world into the heart of mysteries not yet unravelled. He paused by a large fallen cypress, the wood long softened by decay. Here, scattered around what was once a massive trunk, were belongings, rusted tools, a frayed blanket, a child's muddy shoe, left as if their owners had simply vanished into the fog. They didn't end up here on their own, he whispered into his recorder, his voice a hushed intruder in the silence. A chill crawled up his spine as he considered the implications. The items were laid out too deliberately, like breadcrumbs left in a fairy tale, except there was no path to follow, only deeper darkness. He photographed each item with his camera, the flash briefly illuminating patches of the swamp in stark ghostly light. Why are you here, I wonder? The question came unbidden, spoken to the night as if it might answer. But there was no reply, only the flicker of those strange lights through the dense canopy, now seeming to pulse with more urgency. As if on cue, a soft glow appeared, just beyond the next turn in the marshy path, drawing him onwards. With each step, the light grew brighter, the mystery deeper, pulling him into its luminescent web. The swamp's embrace tightened as Alex pushed forward, the air growing heavier with each step. The lights no longer flickered at a distance, but blazed a continuous, mesmerizing trail. They swirled around him, close enough to touch, yet when he reached out, they darted away, playful yet taunting. His heart pounded in his chest, a syncopated rhythm with the pulsing glow. Come on then, he muttered, his voice a mix of challenge and awe. Show me why you brought me here. As if in response, the ground beneath him softened, the earth becoming muck and water up to his ankles. He stumbled, his flashlight slipping from his grip and plunging into the murky water with a muted splash. In the sudden darkness, panic clawed at his chest. No, not now, he hissed, scrambling to retrieve the light. But the swamp was quicker, the mud closing over the flashlight, swallowing it whole. He was left in the pitch black with only the light of the creature guiding him. Alex Mercer, you seek answers? A voice slithered through the trees. Neither male nor female, but as ancient as the swamp itself. He froze, squinting into the luminous fog. There the creature revealed itself, a towering mass of tendrils, each one glowing with bioluminescence. It was beautiful and terrifying, a sentinel of the swamp's secrets. But are you prepared for the truth of this place? It asked, its voice echoing around him. A riddle wrapped in a whisper. Alex drew a deep breath, steadying himself. I'm ready, he declared, unsure if his words were a promise or a plea. Alex's breaths came heavily, misting in the cool air as he watched the creature retreat into the depths of the swamp. The intense glow of its body dimmed with distance, leaving only the faintest trail of light to mark its passage. He stood alone now, the silence of the swamp enveloping like a thick blanket. Slowly, the panic that had gripped his heart subsided, replaced by a profound sense of awe and a hard-won relief. He had seen the unbelievable, touched the edges of a world beyond the grasp of ordinary men and women. Gathering his wits, he retrieved a spare flashlight from his pack and began the trek back to the safety of solid ground. You got what you came for, Alex, he murmured to himself, his voice cracking slightly in the quiet. But at what cost? His mind replayed the encounter, the unearthly voice of the creature echoing with each step. He was alive, but he felt changed, a part of him left behind in the luminous fog, entwined with the secrets he had uncovered. As dawn broke over the swamp, the first rays of sunlight pierced the mist, casting long shadows and illuminating the path forward. Alex emerged from the swamp, weary but alive, clutching his recordings, proof of this creature's existence. When he got into town, he shared his findings with a mixture of skepticism and wonder from the locals. His stories would be a warning, a tale of caution for those daring to probe the unknown depths of this world. Some mysteries, he concluded as he packed up his gear, ready for his next enigma, demand respect, not conquest. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. It really does help. If you've got any advice on how to improve audio quality, or if you've got a story you'd like to submit yourself, also just drop us a message and I can send my email across and we can work on something. Thank you.